All right, so let's look at a couple of, so we looked at least in this original work, and I'll show you, we've ballooned this out to 10,000 terms, but these are just a few examples. This is Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods was found out to have been a very bad person here, and then that's what happens, right? So this is the ambient happiness around Tiger Woods goes down abruptly, crashes his car on Thanksgiving, turns out he's not well, and then turns out there are other things involved. So this is all very bad. Well, that's actually, yeah, it's 9 years ago. Then it rebounds, right? So he's basically and you'd have to look at the actual words, but this is looking at all of the tweets in general, and then tweets about Tiger Woods in a particular time period. So you see accident, crash, injured, but then these words: scandal, cheating, cheated, cheat, divorce, right? So, and wife. So, which is a positive word, but you know, as all told, this is I don't know, maybe I didn't say this. These are basically wordles, or what's the other word for those things? Word clouds for grown-ups, right? That's what these things are, right? The word clouds are fun things, but they're just splattered everywhere. And here, you know, everything has a meaning, right? There's rankings, there's scores. Yeah. What's that? Oh yeah. So this is comparing it may have been during that couple of months. This was the end of November because it was Thanksgiving. There's more about Santa there. And you can see that this is the reference and this is the comparison one. It's a good question. Doesn't seem right. He wasn't dressed in a Santa suit or anything, right? Not getting presents. Nice. Oh yeah, he's on the naughty list, sort of thing. So you want this to pop up, and then you need to be able to. So one thing you never want to do is try to convince people will do this all the time. Like, here's a tweet, and this means that such and such and such and such, right? It's just really bad. I mean, you shouldn't really publish tweets, right? The way to do it is to embed it, and if someone deletes it, it has to be a live thing on the web, right? So if someone then deletes their tweet, then it's gone. And we don't want to have, and it's irresistible for people though, right? They want to show, here are 5 tweets that are emblematic of this thing that I'm trying to tell you about. It's the way journalism works in general, but we're really trying to avoid that. It's trying to stay out of this big picture, but it's true that you would have to go and check this out. We've had a rule for a long time, is never read the tweets, for both for science and your personal health, so. I mainline some tweets I should not mainline. It's just, it's bleak. What's that? Well, it depends if you're a masochist or not at this point. But there are some really, thick woolly boy. I mean, there's some really good stuff out there. The people who just make jokes, you just go and find them for happy times. This is BP, the oil spill in the Gulf, right? So disaster, downshot. So you can sort of see these things. Getting to that, this is all, of course, wrapped around happiness, but getting to that next level where it pulls out something and tells you what's going on. We're short of doing the next step on the website. If there's a major event, we indicate it and we link to the Wikipedia article. So we've also kind of had there's a minimum bar for an event to be, like, it has to kind of pop off and be significant, but also it has to be something that has ended up in the Wikipedia. So, if you click on something, which we'll look at maybe a little bit, but if you click on something, it'll pop up a word shift, and there'll be a link to the Wikipedia thing. But you can imagine doing that in a automated way, right? And I think Wikipedia is great, so, I think it is. It may go to pieces, but it has proved to be something of a reliable beast. So BP, so you see them, it really dives down. And then, at least over this time period, doesn't quite come back up. I mean, people were really upset about this one. So it's a little opinion poll, did not. So we have a couple more. Oops. So this is the Pope. This is around the horrific scandals that have been associated with the Catholic Church. And it's a particular, I can't remember the exact details, but it's a sort of big event where it's discussed. You can see, of course, again, right, we've got a very small subset of tweets about the Pope that involve the Pope, and the reference is very high, right? So it's helpful. It tells us that we're comparing, an ocean, like a tiny little thing to an ocean, even though we still have, tens of thousands of tweets potentially. The Pope rebounded from this one, but these are, you can kind of see that there are very bad things here. What's going to happen with this sort of stuff is, child is a positive word, right? It's used more. And, this is where if we just step out to 2 grams, you'd have child abuse and sex scandal. Yeah, so people seeing this word in isolation rate it positively. Part of it, right, as we've talked about, it's a mixture of volume. What a terrible thing I've just typed. 7.44 and 7.24. These are really very high, right? These are very high scores here. And abuse, scandal. So abuse is 1.88, like really, it is really down there, which is good. And scandal lifts up 3.18. That's not, it's not terrorist territory. Did I just destroy something?
Can you use ambient scores to try to adjust for that live?
Yeah.
When you do the analysis, then say, okay, on this date we're going to use the ambient score, and that would pick up for child abuse and other things without stepping out to 2 grams necessarily. Without individually scoring 2 grams.
So I think for a long time early on, I was really just really set on making it this principled lexical meter so that we just had the scores and we're not making anything up. But I think you're right, and people have done this in various ways. You can kind of do that with some of the word-to-vec stuff as well, like that kind of world. But absolutely, and it would be pretty powerful. So first of all, you detect that child abuse, say, or sex scandal, like those terms, you'd have this little thing that says, oh, look at these terms, like they're being used more. And then you do this. Yeah, exactly. Then you get the context around it. I think that would be really powerful, yeah. And we're really trying to do this for years, really, in various ways. The story finder, the story wrangler thing, I think it's possible. It's really possible. And it'd be quite powerful to show it when we've been focusing on Charlottesville, but it'd be quite powerful to show it on, when there is sort of most days, many sort of stories, right? This may have been the dominant story right then on that day, but you could imagine things where it's 10% of the volume of sort of news, and you should be able to then tease out what's going on. And this is Israel. This is about Israel attacking. I'm not sure who they were attacking at this, but it was a Gaza offensive. I think there's a Gaza war. I think it's called the Gaza war now. There was generally on Twitter a negative reaction to that event, and you can see the dip. But it does seem to come back, right, over a number of months. All right, so this is a while ago, and it's fairly compelling. This is Emily Cody's work, which grew out of all of this, and it will finally be published. It's getting cited, it's on the archive, and there's a lot of supplementary material. So this is the same idea, ambient happiness, but looking at Obama, right? So these are tweets that contain Obama, and we've just done it in this kind of group way, but now this is looking at over quarters. Quarters match up with the kinds of reporting you can get. This is, so in gray is these ambient happiness things. It's pretty up and down, it's a bit messy. These are quarters, so this is over 7 years, right? And it's lagged by a quarter. This is job approval, and then the tweets are lagged by a quarter. So what this shows is that actually if you take tweets, at least for Obama, which is a good word, by the way, like it's hard, there weren't other, there was the Obama issue with people misspeaking on that one, but and Hussein was tricky. But generally speaking, pretty good namespace here, right? Yeah, this is good. Right? So if you have a president called Smith, that is going to be bad for us. But and Trump has kind of destroyed the word Trump a little bit, right? So that's sort of, I think some people have trouble playing cards actually. Like it depends on Some people obviously enjoy playing cards more, right? I mean, it goes different ways, but it has flavored that word. But Obama doesn't mean anything else. So this is, again, it's a rough thing, but we're not saying you can predict elections and all those sorts of things, but definitely in this case, it seemed to do a pretty good job. And of course, these job approval things are somewhat retrospective anyway, so it seems to be matching up pretty well. So there's a whole body of work here. These are, you can do your word shifts again. This is Spanish sneaking through, maybe, but not necessarily, right? So that maybe. We do try to filter out just English tweets and tweets by language, of course. So you can see lots of negative, bad things happening. Iraq and so on. These are really dominant things. This is comparing his first quarter to the 23rd, and that's 6 years later, and so there's a drop in happiness, and this is what's happening. There's less talk about what was going on at the start, right? Less talk about tax and bill and bailout. Less talk about America. More talk about America. So that's, and Afghanistan is down, all these sorts of things. But then you sort of see it goes off into Iraq is up, and the wars and terrorists. If you look at it over time, you can see things like this. So you can see these pop-ups. So this is the H1N1 piece, when he got a Nobel Prize. These are his birthdays. People tweet happy birthday. They love to tweet happy birthday. And this is just volume, right? So this is just this huge things around the election. It's not talked about quite as much otherwise. So lots of things like this. This is Walmart, for example. Black Friday gets a bump in volume. The terrible thing happened here, right? Where you have someone was trampled. Tracy Morgan, the sued. That was because a Walmart truck hit him and his group. There are things that aren't quite as, there's a free gift card, got tweeted a lot. And then I guess, there were these shootings at Walmart. So terrible things. This is Snow. This is a Game of Thrones spoiler for you, but, doesn't really die. So you can do everything, right? So these are words around snow, and what's happening, again, it's the northern hemisphere, the happiness is going down when we have snow, right? So I hate snow, I hate it less. This is a pretty decent score here, but that's humans at their best. And of course they talk about snow here. And there are lots of funny things here. We've tried, it's really nice work with Dylan Kiley, he did it for his honors thesis, and we haven't really finished it, but it was looking at exogenous shocks, right? So something massive happens and then it gets talked about and then dies away. And how does it die away, right? So we've seen, there's a Hawkes process story for that. And you can see on YouTube, for example, the dying away of the interest in something having this power law decay. Now that's if it's a shock, but it could also be that there's this actual building up of a story around it. And so then things grow. This is the weather, of course, introducing the word snow back into our heads. But you can have people talking about something, getting excited about something, and it builds up, and it has another power law story on this side, and then decays. And Twitter tends to decay very quickly. I don't know if it's really exponential, but you see things like watermelon. Watermelon has a nice summer cycle, and there's a National Watermelon Day, so it gets a little spike on that. So there are all sorts of predictable patterns for those sorts of things.